Well, the big nuclear weapons that was exploded 56 and 57 at Maralinga, Operation Buffalo and Operation Antler. The last big weapon that was exploded at Maralinga was in 57 at a place called Taranaki. And then within a short while, in 58, they started the minor trials. And while they were named minor, they became the major source of contamination at Maralinga. There's a picture of Taranaki. Make no mistake, it was a very big bomb. This was, see, nail holes, just nailed in a tree, on the limbs of a tree, 2 kilometres away. Right? And it's just a piece of packing case, see? A wooden packing case. And they had little metal letters on there like that, right? Taranaki, 1957, see? If you run your finger over it, you'll feel how the wood was burnt away, but protected behind the metal, see? And the heat flash, the 1/10 of a second. The heat flash lasts a 1/10 of a second. And that's what a 1/10 of a second done 2 kilometres away. Now if you were there, you would die. And if you were even another 2 kilometres away, you would still die. You would suffer 3rd-degree burns, your eyes would boil and just blow out of your head. Why are we so cruel? Ask yourself, do they care about us or anybody or anything? No. They're bastards, that's what they are. So there's what happened. Now, you can see where the bomb was exploded. There's the centre of it, the big black patch. This was the target area laid out. That's where we set up the new task of doing the Vicks and Bs. See all this? We were only a few hundred metres from ground zero. We used to come in here, drive down there, and then up tracks to these. All these is where a dump was. The big holes were dug and buried all these stuff that was used in the experiments. But we were never told that we were going down here. The veterans, they were just used as lab rats or guinea pigs. And it's no good of people saying, well, the scientists didn't know the dangers. Oh, they were more than aware of the dangers. They took all the precautions, but they never afforded us any precaution. Even were we ever warned about the risks or the dangers of anything like radiation. The dangers, for instance, was dust. And this is what the government has never wanted to talk about. When they had the cancer and mortality study on the nuclear veterans back in the 2001, that started, I tried to get it known that the biggest risk from radiation was inhalation. All this radiation in the form of plutonium in particular, and there was others. There was still strontium-90, there was still cesium-137 at many of these places, and U-235. They were in the dust, and you walked in dust, and this is not an exaggeration, halfway up to your knees you'd sink into the dust, just like water, walking in water. Imagine 30 centimetres of water. Where it was stirred up with the machinery and activity, the dust, and it would, as you walked, and if you looked behind you couldn't even see where you walked, because the dust just filled in behind your boot holes. that was the dust. And all the radioactive particles were mixed up in that dust. You had no respirator, you had no protection whatever. Just pretty much how I'm dressed here, but it was usually in shorts and a shirt, and that was it. There's me sitting there, see, on the ground, just in a pair of shorts. Now the scientists used to come down dressed in their rubber boots with their white suits and their masks on. It's inhalation from those long-lived isotopes, because what happens when you inhale the dust, it might only have a few microscopic specks. Imagine in this room there's 20 microscopic specks in the dust, and if you're lucky enough you mightn't strike one of them getting into your lung. But supposing you inhale the dust and one of those specks of plutonium-239's in the dust that you inhaled, and it gets into your lung. So one of them gets in your lung, he sits on the wall of your lung, and it enters your lung wall through with the oxygen, picked up by the hemoglobin in your blood, and then it's in your bloodstream. And it'll go round and around and around wherever it is being pumped. But one day it stops. It stops somewhere. It might be next week or next year. Who knows? So it might stop in your brain. Then it gives you an intense dose of radiation in that particular spot. And then a little cancer forms. And then you're nearly assured of the end of the road. Or it's more likely to finish up on your bone, because that's where plutonium seems to gather. It's scientifically proven that it's another bone cancer agent. The disgrace of it is that all this is common knowledge, peer-reviewed science around the world accepted that nuclear radiation in whatever form is highly dangerous, and our nuclear veterans, well, they started dying in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and by the time 50s, the bulk of the number was dead. Well, is the government culpable with all this? You better believe they're culpable. It was a British affair, and the Australian government literally cooperated, bent over backwards to please them in every possible way. The Menzies government should have been charged and put in the tribunal in The Hague on crimes against humanity. I still believe it.